welcome to Adventures of Deanna. I'm Deanna. I'm on an adventure to lose over 100 pounds, and this is the ABCs of weight loss. And tonight we are talking about words that begin with the letter H. I want to welcome you. I thank you for joining us this evening. While I'm introducing our guests, go ahead and in the comments, please put in your guesses for the words that start with the letter H that you think that we may or may not be talking about tonight. I hope you guys are doing well. Everybody's having a great day. Howdy cannot be one of your words, Misty. I'm just saying. We're not going to talk about the word howdy tonight. No, we're not going to do it. Just love you. Anyway, I'm going to introduce our guest tonight. She is a friend of mine, and I had been working out with her for months. And then I learned that she has this amazing podcast. And I gave it to listen to it, and I was like, oh my God, I am so much more in love with this girl than I ever was before. I was just so thrilled. Her podcast is so good. And then I found out that she's like a friend and like, I think a coach to like another person who I like totally respect and admire. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe this. So without any further ado and ramblings by little me, I'm going to welcome our guest, Miss Tiffany. Hello and welcome.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. Was that okay? I don't know. I never know. I don't know. So Tia has the Heal Thy Spirit podcast, which is amazing. So find it on however you get your podcasts or whatever. But I've been listening to it for a little while now. Not a long time. But she started talking about one of my obsessions in the first episode that I listened to. And I was like, okay, I'm hooked. And it was habits. And she did this huge, was it 4 parts or 5 parts? 5.
Yeah, it was a 5-part series. Yep.
5-part series on habits. And I'm like, okay, I'm sold on, because I love habits. I'm an aspiring tiny habits coach. So thank you, Misty. Misty posted the link to your YouTube channel.
Misty's always cool with the links.
She's always helpful. Everything. If you need anything, just call Misty. She's got your back. So I'm not really 100% clear. Are you currently on a weight loss journey? I know you work out a lot.
I am. I've been on a lifelong weight loss journey, as a lot of people who follow you have been. But I don't have any specific. I mean, it's just one of those things where, I've finally gotten to, I've tried everything like everyone else. Every diet under the sun. I am not currently dieting. I'm kind of on a figure out what works for my body, not really denying myself anything. I do track my calories. I don't always stick to what the recommendation is, but I like to know because, if you listen to the podcast, I like to keep records of everything, which is why I love your channel so much.
So much.
Yeah, I just always want to know the things. But yeah, I've gone up and down. I actually had a lap band surgery back in 2011. And I lost over 100 pounds. I still have it, but I feel like I don't really need it. It is a tool. You still have to do the work. As you can see, I'm, still got room to go. So yeah, right now I'm just trying to watch what I eat, exercise every day, and see what happens.
I have a friend, Teresa Keever, she calls it weight wellness. And I think that for a lot of us, it's a constant. Weight wellness it's not something that's ever going to disappear from our life. It's like, your financials, your banking account. It's, just like anything else. It's just something that we're always going to have to, have, at least partially in our minds. I don't think it's ever going to go away unless, you're one of those, lucky few that don't have to. But for a lot of us, it's a constant. So yeah. And we're going to go and we're going to have, different seasons of our lives as far as how that looks. Sometimes we're going to have, a season where we're, die hard, doing it, and other seasons where we're like, I think about it, but it's not really a priority, but I'm still trying to keep it a part of my life. And then you've got other seasons where you're not thinking about it at all, and it's not even a thought at all. So, but then we just kind of flow in and out of those seasons. So
100%.
Ooh, wow. Cheryl, look at her. She's happy as hurdles, healing, human, healthy. She's always got like 101. She must like stay up in the middle of the night and like can't sleep. She's got, I love you, Cheryl.
I actually added a notes app, so I keep track every week of what words I'm going to, as I think of them throughout the week.
I would be really curious to see what your notes app looks like. You've probably got 1,000,001 notes in your notes app.
I do. But they're all organized, and I know how to find everything I need.
Hello, that's an H word. Yes. Hop. Oh, hop. Hooray. I love it. Heal. Oh, look at that. You said, hey, hey. Ha ha. Loving it. Oh my gosh. So, habits. Let's go deeper into habits a little bit. So what really attracts you to habits? That's going to be my question.
Yeah, I just, again, being a tracker, habits are who you are. So I'm really all about identity and making sure that, who people perceive me to be is who I perceive myself to be. And all of that is built with habits. I mean, when you think of a person, the people that, just throwing adjectives out there, the lazy people, the productive people, the morning people, the night owl people, like how people come to figure out what your personality is or what kind of person you are is based upon the habits or the things that you do. Mm-hmm. So yeah, habits, with this, in talking about weight loss, one of the, I'm like, what does a healthy, fit person do? Those are the habits that I strive to build and maintain. What are the bad habits that a person that's not the person that I want to be? What things am I doing that, make me into that person that I want to break? So it's everything in life, whether you're talking about weight loss, you mentioned finances, you mentioned, work. Everything about everything. Work, of course, is built on habits. You are what you do.
Your faith, everything. It comes down to your habits. Everything. Yes. Definitely. Yeah. And I've really been trying to really do some identity work with my journaling practice because I love to journal. Mm-hmm. I know that you like to journal as well. You're a big journaler. So I've been really trying to delve into that a little bit more and to just make sure that I'm clear on what my identity is and what I'm trying to put out to others and who I want to be and who I'm aspired to be, and are my habits kind of like in line with that. So habits have been, so with me, I don't know if you know, but when I first started the whole weight loss journey, I started with the Corinne Crabtree with the No BS weight loss program. And she talked kind of a little bit about habits, and she had us track some basic habits like water and sleep and exercise and just, some basic things. But then as I was going along, I just learned that there were so many more habits that I had in place that were so much bigger than that. Just around, like one of my big goals for this year is to speak up whenever I have emotional needs and to not stuff down my feelings. And that's a habit. It's just something that I learned anytime, there's something difficult, which is, we're going to talk about a little bit more, but that's my cue, my trigger is that, oh my gosh, this is difficult for me. And then my response to that is I just want to shut down and then I want to numb myself. And a lot of times I numb myself with food. So whenever I was going through like having urges, because one of the things is that you're supposed to just eat when you're hungry and stop whenever you're satisfied. And you're supposed to check in with your body and say, am I hungry? Well, one of the things that came up was noticing that I had that trigger response, to that. And then I was like, the more I pondered it and the more I pondered it, just noticed that all of these things just come back to habits, really. It's like everything.
Yep,
So,
like when you go to the movies, thinking that you have to have popcorn and candy because that's what you do. Do you really want popcorn and candy, or is it just because you're at the movies? 100%.
And it's like, sometimes it's like, some of our habits are, they're not terrible habits. And maybe it's a habit that you want to keep, but you just need to modify it a little bit. It's not that it's necessarily, a bad thing, but maybe it's just not serving your best needs as who you want to be. So it's just fascinating to me, the whole habit, thing. I just love it. I was trying to think of a question there. So you were talking about, I think on your podcast, like there was like 5 whys, right? Who, what?
Yeah. So I kind of broke it out, the who and the why. So, with the identity, who you want to become, why do you want to be that person? And then the what, when, and where. So what is it that you want to do? What's the habit? Where, because your environment, you talk about it on the show a lot. Pretty much every week, your environment sets you up for success. And what is the other? Who, what, when, where, why? Who, what, when, where, why? Yeah, we talked about it. Who? Yeah, who? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? Where are you going to do it? And when are you going to do it?
Exactly.
That's the 5 W's. Yeah.
It's like, I have to be, okay, so she's a member of the Fit Squad. And for those of you guys that aren't aware, but I talk about it all the time, so you should be aware, but it's with Quick Fit Home Workouts. And she has a Facebook group, and she's doing like this challenge this month. It's an ab challenge. And she's got a lot of exercise. She has us doing these different sets 6 days a week. And some of the exercises that are within the set are not my favorites. And I would say that my motivation to do those types of exercises is really low. I have no, I don't want to do planks with these froggy leg lift things. I just don't like them. A plank's bad enough as it is, and I don't want to do it. But then you got to, put your leg up, and then you got to follow that with mountain climbers. And I don't like mountain climbers either. I just don't know why these 2 exercises don't appeal to me. But I know that I have to state my win very clearly to myself in order to get this ab challenge done. And by having that win, I'm going to do it. So I know that in the morning, I've got my whole routine worked out. I walk the dog and I have my coffee and I do my journaling and I do my meditation. And then it's time to go upstairs, take my shower before I take my shower, ab challenge. But without that specific, very specific win, I'm going to do my ab challenge, it's very hard for me to get it done. But the more that I tell myself, this is when you're going to do it, it's become a lot easier, even though it's not something that, I'm so super excited to do. But I know that at the end of the day, after I finish it, I'm going to be like, yes, I did it. So that's, but if it's not for that time thing, I'm not going to do it.
Oh, I hear you. What came to mind, another H word, was hard when you were talking about the abs challenge. And, it's a lot of, that is always the thing that keeps us, or, one of the things that keeps us from sticking with stuff is, it's hard and we don't want to do the hard when, as Kirsten always says, if it's hard, it's probably the thing we need to do the most. And I'm the same. I have not been faithful with this abs challenge this month. And, last month it was hard too. But, like you said, getting on the floor and, doing the planks and doing the hard things is really hard.
Yeah.
And yeah, the timing definitely helps. Knowing, having a set time, for with working out with Fit Squad, I know Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 5:30 is my workout time. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, I try to stick with that, even when I'm not, because I can't do the afternoons because of work. But I try to stick with that, knowing, to stay in that routine, having that habit of everything being the same. That makes it easy. That kind of takes a little bit of the hard out of the practice. But I'm like you, I never wake up and say, I can't wait to work out. Like, I'm so excited about this. That is, I am not that girl.
I like Saturday morning with everybody. I can't really do the during the week stuff. It doesn't work out very well for my schedule. But I look forward to Saturdays, but these ab challenges, no, I don't. And I'm going to tell on myself here that I don't always do all the reps, but I do at least do some of them. So if I can't get them all in,
than none.
But it's better than none. So, yeah, and that's what I walk away with. Like, at least I did something. At least I got down and I tried to do at least a little bit. And I say that even I can't skip the exercises that I don't like. I still have to do the ones, even if I can only do, 10, 12, 16, 18, 20 reps, whatever it is, I still got to get at least try to do them, try to get better, because you're never going to get better unless you do it. And there's a lot of things that have been hard that with practice, it's no longer hard. So
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm going to keep showing up for myself and keep practicing, keep trying. And maybe someday I'll get a better, perspective on it where I'm like, oh, look at me. I just love it. I don't know if it'll ever happen. Maybe if I just choose that as my identity, just change my whole thought process on it, then I don't know.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Is there anything else that's hard, like regarding weight loss? Whenever you say that, whenever I want to try and think of something that's hard for me, bedtimes on weekends is hard for me. The constant. So I'm married. But the constant dinner conversations, like, because we eat together, we eat the same thing, and then it's like this whole, like, if I want to eat something that, if we're gonna not eat together, it's like 50 questions or something, and I'm like, I just don't have time for that, so we just eat together. It's just easier. I can make it fit. I can add vegetables, whatever you're eating, I can eat. We can make it work, because it's just not. We've had the conversation too many times and I just don't want to have it anymore. So I just make it work. But oh my God, all the time the conversations, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? Like, I think that's hard.
I just stopped asking. Yeah, it is hard. Probably the number one thing that causes me anxiety is figuring out what to eat and, doing it in a way that's, that fits everyone. Before, I'm a recent empty nester, so the kids are not here anymore. So but it's still hard with two people, one who has, dietary challenges, or doesn't like the same things. I'm an adventurous eater. I'll try anything once. Well, not anything, but most things I'll try once. So yeah, you just have to figure out a way to turn that hard into easy. Like you said, it's easier to do it together. Planning ahead, figuring out what it's going to be. It doesn't always have to be the absolute healthiest thing on the planet, but like you said, incorporating the vegetables, eating a little bit less of something that, has a higher calorie count or a higher fat count if you're doing low fat, or lower carb count if you're doing low carb, whatever it is, fit it to your lifestyle. But it's definitely doable. Hard doesn't mean impossible.
No, it doesn't. I have a love for broccoli and cauliflower, so it's just so easy. And I don't mind like the frozen vegetables. I think they're great. You can just pop them in the microwave. So it's really easy to just make sure that every week that my freezer's stocked with those. So I can always eat that. And then, that's really like good portion of my plate. And then, so there's always ways to think about it. And I think that if we're just a little bit curious with ourselves and try and, instead of, always saying, oh my God, it's so hard, just be a little bit curious and sit down and ask yourself, how can I make this a little bit easier? If you think about it, for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, you could probably find a way to make it a little bit easier. It doesn't have to be so hard to do. It doesn't have to, and the more you reinforce that thought in your head that it's hard, well, of course it's going to be hard because you keep telling yourself it's hard. You're going to find evidence that it's hard. And it's going to be a habit. It's going to be the cycle. You're going to come up
and
with
it all starts up here. It's all mindset is where it starts. And like you said, the more you because your brain doesn't know the difference. Everything is neutral to your brain until you teach it. It just likes to do the routine things that it likes to do. We seek as humans, that's another H word, human. As humans, we seek, routine and comfort. Like we don't like to do anything that takes us outside of our comfort zone. So if you have trained your brain for 30 or 40 years that exercise is hard or eating healthy is hard, your brain's going to believe that it's going to fight you every step of the way. So you have to rewire, so to speak, and find out a different way. One of the things that one of the coaches that I worked with when I was getting my certification and all of that, had us basically everything in life that was that we perceive as negative, instead of saying I have to, say I get to, make it a positive, I have to eat vegetables. I get to eat vegetables with every meal.
Take that H word away.
Take it away. And, over time, your brain is going to start to believe what you're telling it because it doesn't know any different.
Exactly. It is a world of a difference whenever you start working on those small little thought changes about how you perceive things, the mindset. It makes everything, I think, just a little bit easier once you start to incorporate that. And that's just another, it's just one of those habits that you have to build up over time. For somebody that's first starting out, it can be a little bit frustrating. And because your brain is, like you said, it's wired that way. So it's going to keep throwing up the alternative because that's what it knows. And it doesn't want to work too hard. It wants to do the easy thing. So you just got to remind yourself that, you're just, that's just what that's just what you're used to thinking, but it's not right anymore. This is the way we think now. Just over time. But we can't just always, a lot of times I feel like people want to go to, automatically to like failure, or like they can't do it or whatever, whenever it's just not true. It's practice. It's, you didn't just go and try and do a cartwheel. You had to practice that stuff.
Absolutely. And once you make it a habit, it becomes automatic, and and then the hard part is no longer there because you just do it. Missy always says, do it anyway.
Do it anyway. Do it anyway. That was so big with, with meal planning. And now, whenever when I first started, I think this has been a long habit from many years ago, but whenever I started with Weight Watchers, it was always like, okay, but what's the vegetables? What are we having? We can't have pasta and meat. We got to have a vegetable. So, but that was a habit that I had to build over time. Drinking my water was, a habit that I had to build over time. There's so many of these habits that just constant getting my steps in. And it's funny how fast, I'm going to totally like change direction here. It's funny how fast the habit can go away. So I was, constantly getting 10,000 steps. Last month, I did the best month ever on steps. And then this month, after doing the best month ever, my steps have tanked. Like, I'm just like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to do it. It's not a thing. And now I'm like back down to 8,000 steps a day average. And I'm like, this is not good. This is not like, I used to be getting 10,000 without thinking about it. And now I'm down. And I'm like, I got to build that habit back up. So just thinking about it one more time. Like it's not automatic yet, but it'll get there eventually. I'll get those 10,000 every single day without having to think about it, just building in, you know, all those places in my life where, okay, I got to walk a little bit extra here. I got to walk a little bit extra there. Because it's not just, 5 minutes here and there. Well, actually, it is. It's just 5 minutes here and there. It's not like an hour long walk. Because mine were all just like built into my day. It wasn't
Yeah.
extreme.
And that's a good thing, that talks about with like the motivation for, the why behind why you're doing something. For me, I need those goals or those something that I'm going for. Just to say I'm going to do it just arbitrarily, I want to get and that's steps is I'm not the girl for guidance on how to increase your steps for sure. But setting that, I started out this year. I was like, I'm going to do January 1st. I'm going to do 4 million steps this year, which is, I think it comes out to like 10,000 a day or something like that. When you're a girl that averages 5,000 a day, setting a goal to double that is not a thing. So you have to kind of, baby steps and, kind of figure out how to do it. But I mean, if you have something, I shot for 4 million, I'll probably not get 4 million, but I'm going to get more steps. I'm going to get more steps than I ever did in a year before. And then maybe next year I'll get 4 million. So you kind of have, like you said, you have to have something to go for. Or, some people call it rewards. I don't personally rewards, but not like physical rewards, like things. But I'm one of those people that I'm kind of self-motivated by, like, if I achieve a thing, then it makes me feel really good about myself. And so it'll keep going. Especially if I announce it, like I just told y'all, I'm going to do 4 million steps. So now I'm going to be killing myself for the next, 7 months trying to figure out
a lot of time
steps by the end of the year.
There's time. There's time. So Cheryl brought up a good word, rearranging parts of the house, and she can't find her Fitbit and she needs to locate it. I can't even imagine being without my Fitbit for more than a day. If I leave for the day and I don't have my Fitbit on and I notice that I'm only like 2 or 3 miles from home, I'm going back home and getting it. Like I can't even imagine not wearing my Fitbit. It's just
I only take mine off to shower, and I have the charger in the bathroom, so I'm charging it when I'm in the shower. As soon as I lotion up, it goes back on.
Mine's in my bathroom too. And that's the exact same thing. I take it off to get in the shower and I put it back on. Sometimes I forget and then I get my whole day's off because I don't have my Fitbit. It's just weird. Weird. But the house, talking about our house. So our house can definitely, our environment, like you said, I like to talk about environment. I love to talk about environment because I do feel like it affects our abilities to achieve our goals. If your house is in disarray, it can mess up your habits. If for some reason the electrical sockets in my bathroom didn't work anymore and I couldn't plug in my Fitbit before I get in the shower, then I've got to go plug. Everything's going to be out of order and out of sync. So I'm sure that that's going to somehow like impact things I do throughout the day. What area in your house do you think, or what changes in your house do you think that you've made that have made a good impact in, your weight loss or your health journey? Or
I talk about this all the time on the podcast, and an H word for environment, habitat. I don't know if that really applies.
But habitat.
So
I feel like a little gerbil.
The night before, I started putting my workout clothes in the bathroom so that they're already there, because I have a very rigid morning routine. I get up, go to the bathroom, I hop on the scale, and then if my clothes are right there, I just put them on. So I don't have the excuse that, it's 5:30, Fit Squad is waiting on me. I am not ready. Like, I'm getting ready. This is a full hour and a half before we, have to work out. And so, that's a thing with my habitat. My sneakers are always there. My socks are there. My underwear, my leggings, my
Mhm.
sports bra, the tank top, everything is ready to go. And without that, I was not always a neat and organized person when it came to my home life. So that how much time you waste looking for things because they're not where they're supposed to be. So just even getting into just establishing your habitat to
Mhm.
make the rest of your life easier saves so much time.
It does. It's just so and less excuses.
Hmm.
You can make so many excuses. So if Tia wasn't putting out her gym clothes at night, in the morning she's going to get up to go find her gym clothes. Don't ask me why, but she washed them all yesterday. They're in the washer still. So now she doesn't have to work out because they're not going to dry in time. And I can't possibly work out in anything but those clothes. So,
Correct. You need
you
the
know,
exact wear. You can't, all the excuses.
all
But to
the
answer that, I
excuses.
do all of my laundry on Wednesday. So it would be a very valid excuse if I had washed them and forgot to put them in the dryer because that would be me. Because I do laundry, me and my routines. I have my laundry
Mhm.
day and I do them all. And depending on whether or not I pay attention to the buzzer when it's done, will determine whether or not I put them in the dryer to have it ready. So yeah, that's a real thing.
So
Facts happening right there.
I'm really privileged and I work, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, so habits and routines are like, my baseline. I love them. But I was pondering the other day about people who have, schedules that change all the time and they never really know. I don't know if you do or not, but do you have any tips for somebody that would, have a schedule like that that's, changing or something that could help them with their habits?
Yeah, absolutely. I have been that girl too. The job that I work now, I'm very fortunate that it is a set schedule. I work Monday through Friday, 7 to 4. But the job that I had before I relocated to Colorado, um, I worked actually a 10 to 7 shift, which is the absolute worst because it's like smack in the middle of the morning and you're still working into the evening. So it's really
Mhm.
hard to keep, good habits in that case. And then to add that, we were working initially in the office all the time. Then they switched to working at home all the time, which makes things easier. But once a lot of the COVID restrictions were lifted, we went to a hybrid schedule. So some
Mhm.
days I was driving to the office and some days I was working at home. And really, I've heard there's two ways. You can have an AB, like if you do have a situation like that where, your schedule's the same certain days of the week, you can set up your routines to fit, have two routines. So on, this day that I'm working, this is what my routine is. And then on this day that I'm working this shift, this is what my routine is. So that would be the number one thing. The answer is always going to be planning ahead. So, which that's,
Mhm.
definitely a hard thing to do. And then the other thing would be finding that window of time, like if you're focusing on your eating, most people don't work 7 days a week. Some of us do if you have two jobs or, anything like that. And then you have other people's schedules, if you have kids that have soccer practice or,
Mhm.
dance rehearsal and, you have a dog that has to be walked when they
Yep.
have to be walked. So, I mean, there's lots of things. So really the thing is just really looking at what your time is. I kind of talk about when you're scheduling, when you sit down for at the end of the week or the beginning of the week, however you do it, and hardwire put all of those things that are non-negotiable, like your work schedule is non-negotiable.
Mhm.
If you have obligations to, for kids or your pets or your spouse or significant other, put those in the calendar first. And I have a digital planner and a paper planner because I'm a weirdo. And
I love that.
then
I love
every
it.
week, doctor's appointments, all that stuff goes in. You're putting it in your digital calendar as they happen, but every week you're setting aside 15 to 20 minutes to look at ahead of time what
Mhm.
things are coming up that can't be moved. and then looking at your week, what time do I have left? Because nobody says, me personally, I like working out at 5:30 every morning, but that's not going to work for everybody. Some people aren't even awake at 5:30 in the morning, or like you said, if you have a shifted schedule, you can't. So what's the important thing? Is the important thing to do it at a certain time, or is the important thing to do it, period? So figure out how much time you have and put it in the calendar and keep that appointment with yourself, whatever the thing is that you're, looking to do. If it's meal prep that's causing you to eat unhealthy, because, pick out a time on your day off that you're going to plan, and not necessarily, purchase and cook all the things. I'm not saying, go completely, all in, because that's another problem I have, is trying to do all the things. I'm going to drink all the water and exercise, 3 hours a day, and also eat healthy and, do all the things all at once. You would not be awake at 5:30.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the things. Figuring out what's important and making an appointment and keeping your promise to yourself, which I know that's easier said than done, but those would be.
It gets easier. It gets easier. Actually, it ebbs and flows. I'm not going to say that it's always that it gets easier and just stays easier. You're going to go through, I think, you're going to go through seasons either way. Like sometimes you'll just hit a rough spot. Like when the time changes, oh my gosh, it throws you for a loop. And it's like, oh God, I got to get used to this. But that was so interesting that you were talking about your two journals. You have, your digital journal, and then you have your paper one. But that's every single week I go through on the planner, and I have to pull up the weather first. Okay, what's the weather going to be like this week? And then I have to go to the grocery store and check out the ads and be like, okay, what's on sale at the grocery store this week? And then we have to have okay, what's going on at work this week? Am I going to be out of town for anything? Do I have any meetings? What's going on? Can I bring my lunch to work? Because I have a hybrid schedule too. So I go through the whole week, what's it going to be like? And then I know on Saturday I go and do all my shopping on Saturday. And then if on Sunday I need to do I don't really meal prep so much, but I do like to cut up some vegetables and, do a little like prepping, but I wouldn't call it meal prepping because I don't make like a whole meal. So, but I do some organizational things, I'll say. But yeah, that's the exact same thing. And I know whenever I'm going to do it. So like, it's my Saturday morning routine. Get up, walk the dog, have some coffee, blah, blah, fit squad, grocery planning, grocery store shopping, come home. Like it's takes me till like 1:00 in the morning for my Saturday morning routine.
Right.
God forbid anybody needs to do me on a Saturday morning. I'm like, no, I'm busy because I don't know when I'm, have to reschedule things. But you just, you make it a habit. Like we were talking about habits, just to sit down and think about your week and how's it going to look for you and plan it out. And then it just helps you to have that structure and know when you're going to do, all the things that you're going to do. So you look at it at the big picture, then you look at it at the smaller picture on the day level. So, yep, it just makes, and a lot of times we were already doing some of these things in a smaller way. We're just kind of building upon it, kind of like stacking, I guess.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I hear you talk about that all the time, just adding something else on to something you already do. And, I'm a big advocate of that too, because it's a lot easier to throw something into a routine that you already have rather than try to just start anew. Are you laughing at Misty wondering
yes.
if she's an actual adult?
I think you do it all just more mentally. We just like to see stuff on paper.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to put it on paper for it to be a plan. You don't have to put it on paper for it to be something that you thought about or, whatever. You just do it in your head, but I think you're doing it. I don't think you would get to where you're at without it. So I don't know. Maybe you're just a partial adult. I'm going to go with that. Moving to a whole new place, half and half, wake up and go for it. Sometimes planned out. Yeah.
And that's completely okay. Yeah, that's completely okay. Flexibility is important. That's how you stick with things. If you're getting burned out or doing something because you feel like you have to stick to the schedule or stick to the plan. God changes our plans all the time. We have a million plans in the world. That doesn't mean it's the way it's supposed to happen or just because someone else does it.
Oh, so true. So true. And that's, if you're planning things out, that's the thing that you've got to just get really, having forgiveness with yourself. If something doesn't go as planned, well, move on. Don't sit and berate yourself for something that I don't know, a lot of times could have been out of your control, even if it was in your control. Like, so what? Okay, this happened today. What am I going to do tomorrow? It's a whole different day. Yep. Toddler Misty, no. Toddler Misty. So tell us more about Heal Thy Spirit, because that's an H word.
So it's obviously a play on words. Heal, that's why the T is capital in the middle. It looks like healthy spirit, heal thy spirit. Spirit's actually an acronym. That's why it's all capital. So the S is for sanctity or spirituality, kind of seeking God first. The P is for the physicality. So that's where we're talking about both our habitat and also our physical body, being healthy. The first I is for identity. We talked all about the mental component of getting your mind right to do the things that you want to do. R is the resources. So that's all the things, the tools that help you get to where you want to be. I is for implementation. That's the planning and the prioritizing and all of that. And then T is truth. That's your testimony. What are you going for? And so the different topics that I talk about would encompass one or more or all of those things. Because, if you haven't figured it out in this, so far, I like to talk. And sometimes I go a little off plan and a little longer than expected. But the goal is just to help overwhelmed, busy women figure out how to heal thy spirit for a healthy spirit.
Mm-hmm. And whenever you are healed, when your spirit is healed, you can just address the day in a whole different way than whenever something's off balance, when it's out of whack, whenever you're not, feeling up to par. And it's that whole balance. You've got to take all of it into consideration. It's part of your being. And if you're not taking care of yourself in one of those ways, we're human and stuff's going to happen whenever that's not there. So we've got to make sure that, we're taking care of ourselves. It's so important. She's got so much great information that she shares on the podcast, but I 100% believe that if you are just only focused on the weight loss aspect of weight loss, your calories and exercise, and that's it, and you're not thinking about your work life, if you're not thinking about your home life, if you're not thinking about the relationships that you have with all the people in your life, you're missing out on some of these big things that, whether you want to admit it or not, do have an influence on your weight. It's these small little 100%. Things that would happen that are going to trigger different scenarios. So I think it's so important to think about the whole human body, not just, as far as weight loss goes. I think that once upon a time, I thought that weight loss just, existed in a vacuum, and that was just a side piece or whatever. But, I have a lot of wisdom now that tells me that's just not the case, at least, for a lot of the people that I know.
It's very, very true.
Yeah. I love it. Love it. So she's got the YouTube channel. She's got the podcast. She's amazing. I wanted to go back to this one and see. Oh, let's talk about healthy. We talked about that kind of. Healing. Oh my God, this is a big word. Healing. What comes to mind for you whenever you think about the word healing as it relates to
Yeah,
weight loss?
yeah. Definitely. Well, obviously, there's the situation. When I started working out with you guys, and Kirsten's favorite word is meet me in a squat. I realized that my knees were not as healthy as
Mm.
they were. And so, there's, sometimes there's going to be injuries, especially when you're new and you're not knowing, yeah, I'm not going to edit when you're not knowing what's ahead and what your body's capable of and recognizing your limitations. There needs to be time. You have to give yourself time to heal and to
Mm-hmm.
get stronger and get back to, the thing that you're trying to do. The second thing with healing that I think about, it goes back again to the mental and the emotional. Like you said, most people, when you set out to lose weight, it's really not losing weight that's not the hole that you're trying to fill. You think that's the thing that's going to make you happy. That was, I think, one of Cheryl's words as
Mm-hmm.
well. You think that losing the weight is going to make you happy, but really it's, healing your heart, two H words, healing your
Mm-hmm.
heart and the thing that, caused you to have the behaviors that made you gain the weight to begin with. So healing, um, in any goal setting, but particularly weight loss is really, that's more hard work that you have to attack.
It
In
is
order
because
to
you
get
can
to
have so much that you don't even know that you have going on whenever you sit down and if you're going to go through and do the real, true, a lot of this inner work that we talk about doing, it
Mhm.
really does. Like, okay, speaking of, I love that I have my problem with being able to voice my needs and wants all the time. That's one of the things I have to heal. That was a trained response into something, and it's something that I have to heal from. It's not something that's, just super simple. It's there's work that I have to do. There's healing that I have to do. There's things that I have to do that work with in order to be able to do that. So if I was able to get down to my weight, I'm still not going to be happy if I don't do this work because I'm still not going to have my voice. I'm not going to be able to speak my mind. And then I'm going to, at some point in time, I'm going to go to cope with those by, numbing myself with food or social media or, even worse, alcohol or drugs or who knows what, you know, versus learning the skills along the way. Oh, wow, this is interesting. I'm really curious. What is this? And how can I, help myself through this, So it's huge. And there's so many different examples that we give about how we need to heal from things in order to, help us move forward. It's
Yeah,
huge.
treating the symptom doesn't always solve the problem. You have to
Mm-hmm.
go to the source of, where did it start, and figure out what does that mean and how can I move forward and how can I change, what's happening now for a
Yep.
better outcome next time.
Yep. Weight loss is only going to give you like a smaller body, maybe, a healthier body, but it's not going to solve everything. So there's a lot of other things that we have to think about. How are we going to solve, either whenever you get to your goal weight or on the way to get to your goal weight. But at some point, they're going to have to be addressed because the true happiness, it doesn't come just from getting that magic number on a scale. It's not that magic.
100%.
It is not that. Talking about happy, I love happy. I find that having like a list of things that make me happy, songs that make me happy, things that I like to do that make me happy, um, just these little boosts is a good habit to have. I don't know if it's a habit. I guess it's not, but just to have a list of things that I know are my go-tos that make me happy to kind of boost my spirits whenever, sometimes you get down. Sometimes, there's a lot of things we talk to ourselves about what we, don't compare yourself to others. Don't, um, I don't know, you get down about the bills you got to pay. You get down about the news that you see on TV. You get down because, family members sick, just it's nice to have mood boosters, because there's so many things in the world that can make us sad. So I like to try and like build my list of, you know, playlist on Spotify or whatever. Just things that kind of make me happy so that for some reason it's like one of those things that in the moment you're like, man, kind of forget, what are those
Mhm.
things? So,
Yeah, I heard you say on one of your shows that you have pictures in your phone
yep.
for gratitude. And I was like, that is such a cool idea. How come I never thought that? but yeah, it's the thing when you focus on, what you
Mhm.
have versus what you don't have, it makes it so much, it puts things in perspective and,
Mm,
helps you to be a little happier about that hard thing you have to do or that you feel like you have to do.
for sure. And also, just, you know, it seems so small, but we can't all be happy all the time. Sometimes you're just going to be sad. It's okay to be
Yep.
sad
That's
too.
life. That's life,
Yeah, we
100%.
gotta ebbs and flows. We gotta, take the good with the bad. So, horizon. This is such a good word.
That is a good one.
What's on the horizon? Like that is an awesome like journaling prompt right there. Everybody take 5 minutes tomorrow or tonight and write down about what's on the horizon for you. That is like endless possibilities.
Yeah, that sounds like a podcast episode. Thank you, your pal Misty.
Oh my God, just think about how many ways that you can apply that to like everything. Just what's on the horizon.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, I like looking at the horizon. I like thinking about, what's just right there at the edge of the ocean, like that I can just almost, reach it and touch it and grasp for it. And one of the things that I found during this particular weight loss journey is that happiness is in the pursuit. So as long as I've always got a goal to pursue and I'm working towards it and I'm making small steps and I'm getting achievements and you know, I'm always going to be happy because, and I don't think there's ever going to be a time in my life where I can say, there's nothing, I've achieved it all. There's always going to be something that I can work on and, go for and try. And I think it just gives me so much, happiness in order.
I'm
Thoughts?
the same. It's like we're the same person. I could not agree with you more. Yeah, having that, not knowing what's on the horizon, but dreaming and people call it naive to be a dream chaser and always have these things. But I mean, that's the beauty of life is that to be going after something. At least that's how I feel. Like I think, and I actually heard Misty say one time that had made me think of it a different way because she said she doesn't like goals because goals give you like an end point, like a stopping point. And then once you reach your goal, then what? Well, that's for me that then what? What's on the horizon?
That's the
Okay, I
next
did
goal.
that. I checked that box. What's next? Like
What's
I'm,
next?
there's always you want to go higher. That's another H word. Go higher than where you were before, heighten your experience and all the things that are made possible because of yep, that's perfect. Ask, believe, receive. You got it.
Mhm.
100%.
Ask, believe, receive. So I've been like, what's on the horizon? And I'm working my regular job that I've worked at I worked there for 10 years and I left. And then I came back and I've worked there for like almost another 10 years now. And I really I don't want to get a promotion. I don't want to do that job. I think it sounds not fun. So I'm thinking, what am I going to do? I'm like, I just can't sit and do my current job like forever. And I don't want that job. So I'm like, well, what are you going to do? So I'm like looking at that horizon thinking, there's something else because this isn't it. This isn't going to be, the, all my years until retirement. That's just not a way to live fully. And so, yeah, I'm looking at that horizon, thinking about it. Like, what am I going to do with it? So I love that word, horizon. Love it.
So good.
So, help. She said help. We forgot to talk about the word help, which is one of the most important words. I'm going to let you talk about help first.
Yeah, and it's ironic that Misty put the put that word because she makes jokes about not having her planner or calendar on paper or whatever, but she is accountability is the help that you need, whether it be with a coach or with a friend or with a spouse or with a group of girls who message you. Like, I was on vacation, so I haven't been in the Fit Squad workouts the last few days because we just got back from Florida yesterday. And I had all these big plans of getting up at 5:30 this morning and working out, and I was like, yeah, that's not going to work for me today. But when I did, right before I was about to do my workout, I logged on and I saw in the chat that both Kirsten, we missed you today. Misty, we missed you today.
They're good for that.
Had I not seen those messages, that 8:00 a.m. workout that happened this morning may not have happened. And I'm just like, yep, you're right. I missed you guys too, but I couldn't roll out of bed just yet. I was awake. I'm always awake, but I wasn't feeling it. I didn't put my workout clothes on as soon as I, went to the bathroom this morning and hopped on the scale and saw the 4 pounds that I gained last week while I was on vacation. And, still that wasn't enough to drive me. You know what? Got to get back into it. But, having that help from my
You just
friends,
had a slow start.
Yeah, I had a slow start. I'm easing back into things. So, but I got it done. And I don't know that I would have, done the thing, even though they would know the difference whether I worked out or not. But the fact that they cared enough to mention the fact that they noticed I wasn't there. So
yeah, help, accountability, coaches. There's so many resources for help. And if you need help, there's nothing wrong with needing help. Everybody needs help at some point in time. So I just want to encourage, anyone, to reach out to people. All the people that have been in the chat tonight are, very helpful, very supportive. Reach out to me, reach out to you, anybody, just make sure that you have, somebody we can always, direct you or whatever, help you out in any way that we can. But it's important to have that help. Don't feel like that you need to be alone in this if you don't have that community that can, help you and support you. We can get you to a community that's gonna, be the right fit for you. But nobody, I think everybody should always have, some nice friends to help them along the way. Because man, we all need them at times. Everybody.
for sure.
Everybody does. So it's healthy to ask for help, is what Misty says. So, and I believe that so very, very, very much. Excuse me. It's healthy to ask for help. So don't be afraid to ask for help. And I wanted to thank Miss Tia tonight for helping me by being my very special guest to talk about the letter H. I thought it was the best word for her to talk about because she talked for habits for 5 episodes, and each one she's like, I'm going to keep it short, and then she didn't.
I'm a liar, 100%.
It's because Kirsten trains you, so, trust issues,
Yeah.
So we're just going to do 10 more reps, and then it's 20, so. Anyway, yes, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. I truly appreciate you coming on the ABCs of Weight Loss. It is just so amazing. I'm so thankful that you came on my show tonight, so thank you. Before I go, everybody, don't forget to check her out. Oh, she's got a habit tracker. So I have a habit tracker on my website, www.avengersofdeanna.com. There's like 2 things on there, the habit tracker, another blog post. But
I downloaded mine.
That one too. Yeah. So you can go to her website and get her habit tracker if you wanted to, because she's got one too. So what's your website?
So it's not really a website per se, but if you go to my link tree, has all the links of the things to get to the places. So it's Linktree, it's linktr.ee/Tia TFN. And so like my name, my first name and part of my last name. And if you sign up for the email list, then I will send you the habit tracker PDF. So mine tracks one habit because I'm big on the one, work on one thing at a time and then build on it. So you can track one habit for 6 months and reflect on that and modify as you go forward.
And I love that because you can't say, oh, I'm so overwhelmed when you're just tracking one habit. It's one thing. Mm-hmm. One thing. And then you get a hang of it and then you can move on to the next thing. So I love that so much. Well, again, thanks you everybody for joining us today. Don't forget to come back to the video and leave me a comment. What was your favorite word that we talked about that started with the letter H and why? And then that's it. I will see you guys in the next video. As always, it's going to be an adventure. Bye.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And